It is Friday, everyone. Hello, I'm Steph Lee, the founder of Host Agency Reviews. Thank you so much for joining us this beautiful Friday afternoon. As you've probably noticed, I am back in Minnesota. We got back a couple days ago, and so we're back to my normal attic background, which is wonderful, and I'm experiencing my second spring. So let's see. Today we have on our coast, we have Henley with Fora. So welcome, Henley. So great to have you.
Thank you so much. We're experiencing our fourth winter here in New York, so I'm very jealous of your
Wait,
spring.
what's going on?
It's pouring, it's cold. Yeah, no, I wish I were there in Minneapolis with you.
Oh, it's like 60s and 70s and sunny and beautiful, and the tulips are blooming. Oh, come visit.
On my way.
Well, let's see. Couple announcements before we go into things. So, I want to remind everyone I've been doing this the past couple Friday 15s, but our big annual survey is coming up, and I actually even put up a QR code for this. So, for those of you that are watching on the video on YouTube, you can scan the QR code. That's going to give you more info on the survey. It will give you survey reminders. So if you sign up for those, when the survey goes live next Monday, you'll get the email with the survey. It only takes maximum 5 to 7 minutes. If you're a new advisor, it's going to take you even less. So well worth doing it, because then you get one of our free reports. So if you're a hosted advisor, you get the hosted advisor report. And let's see, those are at least $89. We do it tiered based on your agency size, so it's a great deal, and it helps us give amazing data to the travel industry. So that was one thing I wanted to chat on. The other thing, oh, actually, that's all I had on my list today. Go me. All right, so Henley, we've got some great questions in here. Are you ready?
I am ready.
All right, so question one. I have my agency, this is from Anonymous. I have my agency set up after going through your 7-day setup program, but now I'm lost on how to find clients and start advertising. I know that there is no one way to do things, but what would you recommend for next steps once my agency has opened? I sent an email to my friends and family about my new agency and also set up the social profiles. So, Henley,
Okay.
I'm guessing a lot of your advisors have this problem. What do you recommend?
Yeah, well, first of all, congrats. It's a big step. You started it. That's the big thing. That's you. I mean, you don't learn how to ride a bike without pedaling first. So you're doing the right stuff. And yeah, I hear this all the time from our advisors that, like, okay, I'm ready, but like, what do I do? And I'll tell you what not to do is don't get obsessed with marketing at the beginning. So I hear a lot of times we'll have advisors come in and they're like, great, so I'm going to make a logo and I'm going to like make 3 new social media profiles and all of this. And I'm like, how about like tell 3 friends what you're doing? Start with that, because I think this really is a business built on relationships. And so the right way to get started is reaching out to your network again and again and reminding them, because they will forget. I mean, I've
Yep.
done this for 20 years and I have friends that still forget to book with me. So reach out to them. I do think that those referrals, let people know that you appreciate their support. I think sometimes that just a thank you for referring your friend, that can go a long way. Now, when you are ready to dive into the digital side of things, and it sounds like you are, so do the personal reach outs, the text to the friends, sort of the more analog stuff. With digital, I think a place where I see people go wrong is feeling like I have my personal social media account. Should I go and create a business one? I totally respect that. For some people, like, they don't really want their business stuff in their personal life. Like, my Instagram account is like my kids and my dog also work. It's who I am. My lives are completely intermeshed. I totally get if you don't want that to be the case. However, I will say that I think your personal social media, it is you, and this is a very personal business. So reminding people on your social media, you don't have to have a ton of followers. You can have 100 friends on there. If 5 of them become clients, this is really, really good. So posting stuff on there, what you're planning, what you're booking, where your clients are traveling, some opinions from you about where you've been. All of that, I think, is really powerful. If you aren't an Instagram person, do not worry. Plenty of people have wonderful businesses without doing that. You can use LinkedIn as well. That's your professional network. That's a great place, but also don't stress. Like, if you don't feel like you have to become a TikTok star, like, I don't know how to use TikTok or Snapchat or any of that stuff. So don't stress that. But if you do have it, remember, be authentic, be you. And then I do think email marketing is great. So it's good that you've already sent an email. The thing that I love about email is it can be forwarded. So put your information in there, talk about what you're doing, remind them of maybe a promotion at a favorite hotel of yours or where to go next, what's hot, what's trending right now. But also say, please feel free to forward this to someone who might be interested in planning, because it's so easy to click that forward button. And I've really found in my career that often is what gets that referral. If somebody says, hey, I got your email forwarded and actually we're planning, our summer trip right now, or we're having our 4th winter in New York and we want to get somewhere warm. So now's the time. So I think you've got all the right ideas. And I would say, just remember that it should always be personal and authentic. And that's really what's going to get you going.
Yeah, exactly. I love your tips. Like, number one, social. Everybody loves talking about it, but I have met plenty of advisors that don't do anything in social and are still successful. But if you are going to do one and you feel uncomfortable about that work life separation, LinkedIn is a great one to do it because people expect you to be promoting your business there.
Exactly.
And on your Facebook page, I think it's like on your personal profile, your friends and family want to hear about these wins that you're having.
Yes.
So, posting up about your new logo, or that you got your first client, or that you're at your trade show and you're a little bit nervous, that sort of thing is, it's very personal to you and they want to be supportive of you. So it's not asking for a sale, but it is keeping you front of mind that you actually sell travel and they should think of you next time.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's perfect. Let's see. Our next question is from Judi N. It's kind of 2 questions, so I'll just start with the first one. Well, okay, I'll read them both and then we'll go to the first one first. I am looking for a host agency and I have never had one before. I have compared a ton on your site and I am feeling overwhelmed. Totally get
Yes,
that.
imagine.
Uh, what are the main things I should be looking for in a good host agency, or should I start my own? So let's start with the first question, Henley. What are the main things you recommend advisors look for in a host agency?
So, I mean, there's a lot. And I will say, obviously I run a host agency, but there's lots of incredible ones out there. And I think all of us are really dedicated to creating a great home for sort of the travel entrepreneurs that are getting started. So lots of good ones. You're probably not going to go wrong. However, it is important to find one that aligns with your business goals. And so
Mm,
maybe the first step is, what is my business goal? So, if you are trying to get started, but you are feeling like, I still have a job that I need to do, I can't afford to quit my job, you really are going to want to look, one, at the cost of joining. Look for hidden costs. So is it that it costs one thing to join, but then there's a whole lot of extra costs hidden that I'm going to have to pay for training or different access? So look for that up front. That's one of those things that I really care about, is like no gotcha moments in terms of the pricing of what it costs to be part of a host agency review. Look at your commission splits, of course, because again, that's how much you get back. So like, we started a 70-30, everybody has different ones. Ask for that information. That's something that they should be very transparent about. And then I think, look at what your sales requirements are to be a part of that agency. Because again, if you're someone who you're saying, I'm starting this business, but like I got bills to pay, I got dogs to feed, yeah, I've got things to do. I can't afford to just quit my job. If you are held to a very high sales goal from the start, you may have a problem meeting those sales goals, and it may be the kind of thing that a year later you find yourself looking for another host again. So getting that stuff out up front is really important. It's an important part of sort of the big picture for things, is what's that overall package look like for you financially. And then I would say, for me, technology matters a lot, but technology doesn't matter in some sort of replacing like people with AI or anything like that. I spent a long time running a very small agency and working in this industry without much technology. And so what we really focus on is giving people the tools and the training where they can run their business in a more efficient manner. If you have lots of time to go attend live training, great. Attend the live training. We also make our training asynchronous, so that if you don't, because you're working somewhere already, you can go and do it asynchronously and then join a live lab when you have the time. So look at how it balances within your life, and what the platform is that you'll be joining. Like, how much of your time are you going to be spending on invoicing? Find someone that's going to do it for you. Like all of that stuff is what plays into how you can do your job in a more efficient manner, because whether you're doing this full-time, part-time, you want to be able to do that job in a better way so that you can earn more money more quickly.
exactly. And I'm pulling this up again, but on the profile. So for those that are watching on video, for those that are listening, you're going to have to just trust me. But when you go to a host agency's profile for those minimum sales requirements, that's actually going to be information that's on the profile. It's under program details, and then there'll be the minimum sales requirement. So you can check all that information there, as well as the commission split ranges and things like that. But one thing I would add that I think is so overwhelming, because Judi, it is incredibly overwhelming when you are looking at host agencies, especially if you're new, because the key to it, I think, is knowing what you want. Because when you're starting out,
Yeah.
you have to do a lot of investigative work before you choose a host agency on what your niche is going to be. Like Fora is with Virtuoso. So if you're booking luxury travel, that's going to be a great fit. If you're looking to do budget travel, Fora probably is not going to be the great fit for you. So things like that, knowing ahead of time. And we have a great article. Let me we'll pop this in the resources, but we have an article on how to find the best host agency, which I'm going to let's see, share my screen here. Whew, there's a lot happening. Um, so this is a great article for you, Judi, because it's going to, number one, it talks about things you should be thinking about besides the commission splits, the minimum sales, the niche, things like that. It allows you to, is the E&O insurance included? That's
Mhm.
something, or should you get your own? You want to educate yourself on if it makes sense for you to get the E&O insurance or errors and emissions insurance. Because it's going to be under, if your host agency provides it, do you feel comfortable with that? So there's a lot of research that needs to go in here. The download is a great resource for you. And then it talks about, like, do you want a large or small host agency? That's important. Do you want to be able to walk into the doors at some time or have live trainings? Or do you work best with asynchronous, like Henley was saying? Do you have a really busy schedule and it's best if you can just do it on your own? Um, the training is going to be huge for you because there's a wide spectrum of what host agencies are offering. So they'll do everything from, some people have where you fly in, you do a boot camp for 3 to 5 days. Some people have it where it's all online. Some people have multiple things. So checking out all that information. So this article is really going to, I think, give you a map that you can follow, Judi, so that it's not as overwhelming, because it can be really challenging. But the last part of your question was, should you start your own host agency? Henley, thoughts on that? Oops. Am I frozen? Or okay, Henley, did I just freeze? Sorry.
Ooh, I can't tell if that's it. Okay, I got you now.
Okay, perfect. So, question was, the last part of the question about the host agencies. Should she start her own host agency? What are your thoughts as a host agency owner? Is it simple to start? Should that be something newbies should be doing?
Don't do it. And I say that as somebody who did it, and like now where I am at, yes, fine. My previous company that I'm like, what? Like if I when I look back at myself starting that, like what? Why? Why was I not just an IC with someone else? Oh no, but I'll tell you why. And it's not just like the headache of running your own agency and having to do all your own, accounting and back office stuff, which really
Mhm.
I mean, a lot of what we do here at Fora is based on all of my bad experiences of running my own thing, so that my advisors don't have to do it. Like, we'll give you the marketing, we'll run your back office, we'll collect your commissions for you. But really, the bigger thing about that, because maybe you're real whiz with that and you like love accounting, but the bigger thing is your preferred partnerships. Because you can, even if you can go out and you can get an IATA, you'll need referrals from the industry. But let's say you go out and you get your IATA doesn't really do much for you other than allow you to collect commission. You don't have your partnerships with your hotel partners, your cruise partners, your tour operators that allow you to get additional amenities when you're booking. So, your Four Seasons preferred partner, your Rosewood, that actually let you showcase that you can do better for your traveler than they can do on your own. Cruises, all the good cruise lines are part of this too. And then a lot of them have increased commission. So although you may think, sure, but if I'm the host agency person, I get to keep 100% of my commission. Yes, but like if you're part of a good host agency and you're booking something like Belmont, well, you're actually going to be getting more commission from your host agency anyways. So I think that's the
Mhm.
kind of thing that you have to look at. So I would say Start by working with a host agency you love, by being in a community that supports you. I think that community aspect is super important. And learn the ropes. And I think you'll find that the reason that there are a lot of host agencies, but there's a lot less host agencies than there are agents out there, is because
Yeah.
most people don't really want the headache of running the big business. They want to focus on what they do best, which is planning trips.
Yes, and I would also say, Judi, like, especially for a new advisor, even for experienced advisors, it's something you wanna think about very seriously because it there's a lot of fraud within the travel like, the host agency arena, and so people, if you go into it just thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna, like, host people and get 100% and make all this money," there's a lot of protections you need to put into place, and even with that, host agencies, like, part of the budget should be, "We're gonna have fraud within our program," and so it's not something to go into lighthearted because if you bring on an IC and you didn't know to do background checks and credit checks, or maybe even if you did, someone squeezed by and you get stuck with $20,000 worth of hotels in Marrakesh that one of your advisors booked, and then the credit card was bounced back, that's something that you're gonna be responsible for, and it's heartbreaking. My family with our host agency, when we first started out, we didn't know about fraud, and we're hit in the GDS system, which is a little bit different, but in the GDS system with six-digit fraud, so it is not something to joke around with, and so, Judi, I would definitely say no, and for any experienced advisors, you should be doing a lot of research, talking to host agencies, and knowing what you're getting into.
Agreed.
Let's see. Last question is from anonymous, and this is an exciting one. So I was just invited on my first fam trip. Do you have any advice on how to make the most of it or tips for a new travel agent going on their first fam? Thanks. So exciting. Henley, tell me everything.
I have so much advice. So yeah, because most of our advisors are new to the industry, we do a lot of education around like protocols for fam trips. And so for starters, hopefully you've earned your way into this and sort of gotten to a certain level of sales that you will be able to deliver sales for this. Because the number one thing I would say is don't go on a fam trip unless you're certain that you have clients to return. It's a very honest relationship with this stuff. They're inviting you because they expect that you have clients that you will be sending them that you either already have, you're booking that region, that destination. And that what I tell our advisors is that you should really be able to say, like, pretty honestly, within 30 to 60 days, I'm going to have my first booking for this. So for starters, that's that. Second case, be the nice one. So this is don't show up. Being on time means being early. Be polite, be inclusive. Sometimes you end up in a situation where people know each other and fam trips can veer into a little bit cliquey. If you see somebody who doesn't have a buddy sitting at dinner, sit next to them. So I think you want to come away with that, people thinking of you as the nice person, because that's what's going to get you invited on the next one. Suppliers absolutely talk, and they let people know if somebody wasn't the nice one. So be inclusive, be polite, be grateful, write a thank you note afterwards. All of that is just sort of like your general behavior on a fam trip is something we talk about a lot. But then use what you're learning. So take lots of pictures, take lots of notes. When you're in a hotel and you're looking at the rooms, ask, do these connect? Listen to the questions that other people are asking. Is it a sofa bed? Is it a queen size or is it a double size? All of these are the kinds of things that you can ask and you can find out when you're walking through something. And then if you are going back to the social media element, if you are somebody who is active on social media in any way, use those photos, share them, showcase what you are actually experiencing to your audience. And again, I say audience in the most in sort of the broadest way. Your audience could be like, your 10 best friends from high school, and it could be 100,000 people. Whoever it is, they actually care. This is a great marketing tool. And then finally, this is like networking for you. This is a great chance to get to know other people, whether it's other people from your agency or just people from the industry as a whole. Like, get to know them, ask questions. It is such a wonderful industry to be around people who travel a lot, and then you have a broader network. So next time somebody asks you about a place that you haven't been, because, like, let's be real, we can't possibly all know everything about everywhere, you can remember, oh, I was in Thailand with this person. She said she'd been to Cambodia. Let me ping her and ask what she thought of this hotel. So that ability, and also that's why you want to be the polite, nice person, because then they're going to be willing to talk to you later. Not the divas. Nobody wants to talk to them afterwards. Is sort of build your network that way so that you have a broader sense of who's in your industry and who to reach out with. It is really, it's such an incredible thing that we work in an industry where we get a chance to sell a lot, and then because of that actually go to these remarkable places. So congrats on getting that first invite, and make the most of it.
Yes, that was I am so excited for you, Anonymous. We're gonna put a link in here. I was just telling the Fora team before we logged on that Restream, who we use, had this button that was like, "Do you want to try Restream 2.0?" And I was like, "Sure, how different could it be?" But now I'm having trouble figuring out where to share my screen. Oh, here we go. Okay. So, up on the top, if you type in fam trip up in our search bar on the top for those that are listening, it will pull up our article on Travel Agent Fan Trip. It's going to talk to you about what they are, how to find them. It gives you lots of places. Um, it's also going to give you different things like a resort or a site inspection checklist. These are like printable, and there are things that are online now, which we also give those resources for the uh, online apps that you can have when you're going on a fam trip. We also do it for ship inspections as well. Again, they're print off PDFs, but they are free for those of you that are on a budget crunch. We also talk about different things within here, kind of about the different types of fam trips, what's going to be the best thing. And then we're going to talk about marketing the fam trip. So, like Henley said, take a lot of pictures, take videos, take a lot of notes. The thing to also remember is fam trips often, not always, but they are get up at 6, go to bed at 11, or like 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
So you're going to be really busy during that. It's okay if you're not posting your pictures in real time. So remember that when you're feeling like super stressed and feeling like, oh my gosh, I need to be posting. You can post them later and it's not going to be a big deal. There are also fam trips. I've noticed a lot of fam trips now. I don't know if you've noticed this, Henley, but where they're also doing, they're giving you content for the fam trip. Like they have a photographer or they have the wording all set up for you for your post just to make it a lot easier for you, which is fantastic to see.
Yeah, I have seen that. We did our first Fora ski week last week, which was super fun. So we brought 40
Ah,
advisors into Aspen and partnered with 5 different hotels plus Aspen Snowmass, and like had it just like a big fun, like spend all the time like skiing, building community, but then learn about the destination, learn about all the different hotels. And we did bring in a photographer there because we wanted great pictures of all of our advisors doing fabulous things, but we also want to be able to give that to them so that
yes.
they have those professional shots. And I think it's your marketing can be like your selfies with your friend, but it can also be, it's nice to have those more professional things. So if they are taking those photos and giving them to you, please use them because it's such a great opportunity. The one other thing that I would say, and I do think that's a good point, this is not vacation. You're not on vacation. You're not like, you are working all day long, and you got to keep up with your regular work. So you're like there and you're like emailing late at night. It is a little bit though part of it's like part of the experience is you're all really tired, but you're all, sort of together and
Like
have,
camp.
yeah, it's like, but the other thing I would say is actually make sure when you do come back from that you share out to your community. So we have requirements that our agents, when they come back, they need to share the reviews of where they went, what they saw, what they did with the rest of the community, because your suppliers, they've invited you, but they do really want this to be shared out more broadly. It's not just one person. Get it out to your community, because then when your other people in your community are going places, you want them to share to you. So I think make sure that you're just spreading the love around for what worked well, or what to know, like, hey, this is a great place, be aware it's a little bit harder to get to. All of that is logistics that help other people sell too. So be a helper.
Yes, exactly. Um, we do have a question from the audience if you have time, Henley.
Sure.
Okay, cool. So this is from Tracy, and she's saying, "Hi, I'm in the Travel Institute program right now to gain knowledge in the industry. I'm in a career transition. My hope is to partner with Fora. What advice do you have for her?"
Oh, Oh, well, thank you. That's so exciting to hear. So, the best thing to do is come in and apply. So, if you go to foratravel.com/join us, that is where you can apply to become an advisor. Normally, we have a secret code word. I don't think we did today, but just when it asks if you have one, write host agency reviews, because we'll then go and look for that and pull your application up faster. We do have a long wait list. So, that helps us review you more quickly. Now, the big thing is like, what does it make, like what gets an application through or not is really the question. And so you can find the application, but how does it work out well for you? And I think the things that we look for are for advisors who like have a real business plan, and have opinions about travel, because you don't have to, certainly not, our advisors are all booking lots of different things. Some people are specialists in some areas, some people focus on different things. But the one thing is that you need to have opinions to be good. So don't say my favorite hotels are Hyatt and Hilton. Which one and why? And who are they right for? And who would you put there? And why are you sort of doing this? Because this is actually what will make you great at your job, is being people oriented and detail oriented, but also opinionated. So keep that in mind when you're doing the application. And thank you for joining.
Yes, definitely. And I saw we have a question from Carol. I don't know if you have time for one more,
Yeah,
Henley. Okay,
absolutely.
cool. So this is exciting. Carol has her first fam trip in October, and she wants to add on additional resorts as pre or post to the fam. Is that easy to do, an individual resort inspection in Mexico?
Yeah, and I really recommend that. Look, if you're spending the money, because so generally, for those of you who aren't aware of how this sort of the money side of FAM works, generally you are hosted while you are on the FAM. So you're not going to incur a lot of costs while you're there. Always ask though. But
Mhm.
you are responsible for your flight to and from normally. Every now and then there's some FAM that includes a flight, but most of the time you're flying yourself in and out. So you're paying for your ticket. It's great if you can book it in a little bit earlier or out a little bit later so that you can have time and you can reach out to other hotels in the area. Again, I would say reach out to ones where you're already selling them, you already have a relationship with them, and say, hey, I'm coming in for this event. If it'd be possible, I'd love to come by a day prior. And keep in mind what, like don't ask for that in high season. Don't ask for that for like you and your 5 best friends. It's really for you to go and do a work trip and a work stay there. The one thing to be cautious about is when you are on that fam trip, remember they're hosting you. So they're paying for your accommodations, they're wining and dining you. That is not the moment to be like, guys, sorry, I'm going to be like late to happy hour because I'm off to see some other hotel. You are their guest and you need to be very respectful of that. But outside the bounds of those, let's say 3 days, certainly it helps to see others. And occasionally hotels will even take you to see other properties because they want you to understand where they fit in. So I was in Bhutan with Six Senses. They took us to see an Aman. They took us to see a Como, because these are kind of competition in the weekend in the region, but not really, because they're very different products. So they wanted us to see how to position what their product was against others. So I think sometimes that will happen naturally, but don't push it. Otherwise, do that pre or post visit.
Definitely. And if you're having trouble, Carol, because it sounds like you might be newer, if you're having trouble and you don't know who the sales rep, or the BDM is for that, you can always reach out to your host agency and they'll be able to connect you with the right people to make things happen. Well, that was amazing. A long Friday 15, but lots of great information in here and lots of fun stuff with the fam trip. So, a couple things. One, I'm going to put up, if I can find it in here. Let me see. Oh, I was so excited. I did this before. Oh, here. Okay, so here's the QR code for Fora's HAR profile. You can find more information on their program, read their advisor reviews. Yep, so scan that if you want to check it out. We'll also put the link to it in the resources. And then let's see who we have coming up. Or Henley, is there another way? I'm guessing like the profile and the site is the best way for people to get
Profile on the
info.
site is the best way. Yes.
Cool. All right.
Don't
And
forget.
then coming up for those of you Friday 15 junkies, next week we have co-host with Travel Planners International. If you have questions for their specific program, you can submit them by going to hostagencyreviews.com/Friday15. The following week, the 26th, we have Outside Agents as a co-host. And then May 3rd, it's going to be sad because it's lonely and it's just me, and that's really hard. So submit your questions for poor Stephanie for that week too, if you want. And that is about all. Henley, thank you so much for
Thank
joining us.
you. Thank you. It's always fun to come on and chat, and happy weekend.
Yes, definitely. And thank you all for joining us. We will see you next Friday, 12 p.m. Central Time. And don't forget to submit your questions and sign up for our survey reminders. Thanks, everyone.